Just off to get beers for the Tyson fight. And then brake light rears its ugly head. Fantastic. I settled on cider in the end. Don't want to be working on a car with a hangover. Stayed up till stupid o'clock to watch the fight as well. What a waste of time that was. It's things on wheels. Next day, and I'm looking to get these brake pads on. Standard procedures here. Caps off. Loosen the bolts. Jack it up. Don't forget the stands for your safety. Then whip the wheel off. Simple. Now this clip needs to go, and I'm going for the old yeet it off approach. There it goes. Next I'm going to turn the wheel so I can get better access to the caliper bolts. You see them? Those are the bad boys right there. I used a breaker bar to loosen them, but not fully remove. Why? Because I want to secure the caliper with a cable tie or two, even 3. Just so the weight of it hanging doesn't cause damage to the brake line. A simple disconnect of the wear sensor. And then I can get back to removing the caliper bolts completely. Now as there's a slight lip on the discs, there's no way this would slide off. So I'm going to pry the piston back. This will also allow for the extra thickness of the new pads that are going in. The whole lump can be moved to the side. There's one pad and the other inboard one. No biggie to remove. That drops out. Pull that forward. Slide that out a bit and thread the cable through. And then take the whole piece out. It needs a clean. This is where the pad has direct contact, so be thorough. I'm going to use some brake grease to re-lubricate the sliders. And also on the parts where the pads contact. Should stop any annoying brake squeal. Some will use copper grease on these, but I always get great results with this. Get in there. Might be a bit OTT, but I'm also putting grease on the piston. The sliding part of the caliper goes back in. And these are the new pads. Plenty of meat on them. They'll do the job nicely. Again, I grease this surface just in case. It's not 100% necessary though. And these are the parts of the pad that contact the caliper where we just cleaned. Inboard one goes in first, followed by the outer. Try not to get grease on the friction material, and if you do, make sure it's removed quickly with brake cleaner. Slide the caliper back on, and wind in the bolts by hand. Nip them up with a ratchet, and then torque to spec. Don't forget to hook up the wear sensor. It's only on this side if you were wondering. Give the brake pedal a few pumps to close the pads back in towards the disc. Straighten it up. And yeah, I know there's a slight lip on the discs, but there's plenty of life left in them. They'll get changed next time around for sure, so don't at me. An extra step here that isn't essential, but I hate the rusty colour on the hub part of the disc. So I wire brushed it, masked it off, and applied some direct to metal, satin black, high temperature paint. The masking doesn't have to be perfect either, as the first time you apply the brakes, the pad will cut off the excess, leaving a perfect line. This clip can go back on. And don't worry, that wasn't a scratch either. Just some dirt. It wiped clean. Wheel back on. Reversal of removal. You know how it goes. Make sure your bolts are tight. We don't want that wheel falling off, mate. Onto the rear now. It's a slightly different process.
You have to be your biggest fan. And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you're going to meet.
Handbrake off first, as we wouldn't be able to get the caliper off otherwise. Loosen the bolts. And notice, the whole slider rotates. So use another spanner to counter hold it. Fairly straightforward. One down. But remember, there's two of these. So on the bottom, it's the same process. Then wriggle the caliper free.
Because you don't know who you're going to meet.
Both pads can be pulled out. And these metal clips too. We got new ones to go in. On the front you can push the piston back, but on the rear they need to be wound in. So this is where this tool comes in handy. Slowly winding the piston in. Until it's pushed back, almost flush. As for the clips, I had new ones, but as you can see, they're way too narrow. They won't even fit around the disc. Bit shabby that. So I'll have to clean up the originals as best I can. They actually came up alright, but still, it's not the point. Came up alright though. As with the fronts, I applied some brake grease to the parts that make contact with the pad. And yep, more paint treatment for the inner part of the disc. Our cleaned up and lubed clips snap back into place. New pads, almost good to go. Even easier to put in than the fronts. More grease? Yes, please. I know it's extra. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I nearly forgot the sliders. We got to clean these up and re-grease too. I'm pretty sure the brakes have never been done on this car. It's a 62 plate, but it only has 26,000 miles on it when I got it. Back in they go. Slide the caliper back over the pads. And then we can use these new bolts. They have thread lock on them to stop them coming loose. Wind them in by hand. And then again, counter hold the slider and tighten up. Not forgetting to talk to spec. The wheel can go back on. Pump the brake and then redo the same thing the other side. Simple job this, just a bit of maintenance. Remember, no harsh braking when back on the road. You need to bed the pads into the disc surface. And we done out here. I'm Wayne. This is Things on Wheels. Bless up.